Good afternoon and welcome to today's episode of I Was Once Depressed. Now, they say that difficult situations are able to bring out one's creativity. In today's interview, we're going to be talking about that and so much more with my guest, who is a music producer, and he goes by the name DJ Mzengaman. DJ Mzengaman, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you so much for having us in your office here at your production house.
Yeah.
Right.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. So, we all know you to be this producer, renowned. You work with some of the biggest artists in the country.
Yeah.
But we don't know so much about you personally. So just tell us a bit about yourself, your growing up and the like.
My real name is Mzengaman.
Right.
And other than being a producer, I'm obviously a Christian, married, a very beautiful wife, blessed with 3 kids, 2 girls and 1 boy. Yeah, and my profession before the music is I studied business administration. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, and I also have a master's degree in the same business administration. My major was finance and marketing. Before the music, I was working for Standard Chartered Bank back then in 2009 and 10. And even when I started the music, I was still working with the bank. Then later on, I resigned and started working for Airtel headquarters. Then I officially left for more employment just to focus on the music business, which I have done for over a decade.
Wow.
That's a bit about
me. This DJ Mzengaman, not Mr. Mwale. Do you like being addressed to as Mr. Mwale?
That's also cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll keep it DJ Mzengaman.
Okay,
so thank you so much about that. Now, how easy is it for you to juggle your work as a producer, full-time producer, and having a family? You talk about your beautiful wife and your 3 kids. How easy is it to balance that out for you?
Well, it's not very easy because as a man, a lot of things depend on you, you know, and also you need to have some good time for your wife, and also above that, you need to have some good time for your children, so that you can always bond with them, relate, and give them that attention that they need. So it's for me, it has been an issue of learning to separate business hours from
family
time.
Right.
And whatnot. It's very difficult for me because most of the times I'm extremely busy with work, even in hours that are not work hours, you know. Thank God my wife understands very well, because even by the time I was getting to marry her, it was the same circumstance, so she knows how we go about this whole thing. But I've made it a point to always create some special time for my family, especially my kids. And also the good part of being your own boss is sometimes you can just say, I'm not going for work this week. I'll just spend it with family and
to the office. Deal with things.
So I always balance. I'm a family man, very serious family man.
Right.
I put my family first over everything.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. But do you ever feel like your work just takes away from your family time?
No, to the contrary, I feel like work complements. Because at the end of the day, I'm that type of a person who lives for purpose. So when I feel like there's nothing I'm living for, there's no purpose, it gets so boring for me. So this whole work thing also adds so much value to my life because it gives me purpose. So the more I work so much, I also focus on my family, because I know I'm working just to ensure that my family is being taken care of. And also, the more I look at my family, the more I feel like I need to focus on my work just to safeguard their living, you know. So it complements. It kind of complements, the other. So sometimes you get stress from family. It's work that is going to, take that stress off, and vice versa.
Right.
So it complements the other.
That's amazing. So everything just works out together.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's amazing. Now, speaking of how work and family can complement each other. In the midst of all of that, still, have you ever found yourself in a place where you've been depressed?
Yeah, I have. There was a time some years back, I made some very bad business decisions, and it ended up putting me in a very compromised position financially, because I ended up losing almost all the monies that I had, and then I started borrowing, getting more like loans, makalova and whatnot, just to sort out the problem that I had, because I lost a lot of money due to some bad business decisions that I made. But in the process, things didn't turn out the way they were supposed to. I ended up creating more problems for me. So it became very depressing, because a lot of things were at risk at that particular time. So I had to have some serious conversations, serious talks with my wife, and we had to make certain bold decisions, very, very drastic decisions, because they say desperate situations call for desperate measures, and there was a time we had to sell everything in my house, starting from the cars, the TVs, dining tables, and just like literally everything. People on the outside didn't know what was really going on, but we decided with my wife to just get rid of everything, just to make some money, sort out some of the issues that we had, and start afresh. It didn't end there. After doing that, we had to even move. We had to go to my farm somewhere, and stayed there for about 3 to 4 months, just to get some fresh air and just re-strategize and whatnot. And I did all that whilst having some serious depression, because I was like, what did I put my family into? What is my wife thinking? How is this going to pan out? But by the grace of God, things turned out well. 3-4 months down the line, I came back bigger, better, and harder, and everything was a thing of the past. So it was not easy. That was like one of the most defining moments in my life, because I had to learn the other side of the coin the hard way, But by the grace of God, we managed to overcome, obviously, because my wife was very supportive, and we made some concrete decisions that at the end of it all worked to our advantage, and things became better and came back to normal, bigger, and several years down the line from that time, everything has been just fine.
That is great to hear. Now, I believe you're talking about the story that you once posted on Facebook,
exactly,
where you explained this at length, where you spoke about paying back a loan of about 170,000.
Yes.
Took you some time to pay after making those drastic decisions.
Exactly.
Now, how did you run us through how you were feeling and how that just drove you to becoming the creative person you became, just to make sure you clear that debt?
Being creative has always been there. It wasn't necessitated by this circumstance or situation. So one thing about me is that I am a person who I can be heavily depressed. I'll be grounded and I'll just be sleeping, but it won't be for long. It will just be for a short period of time. Maximum could be a week. Then from there, I'll quickly move on to what's next. What am I going to do? To sort out this mess. I just forget about this sympathy thing and, focus on the way forward. And that's exactly what happened. So at first it was very depressing and, what am I, what about my family, this and that. But after a short while, I had to just focus on the goal and the way forward. I never cared about what this person would say or relatives, and it was kind of embarrassing. It was years back though, but then things panned out well, because I have very strong zeal and very determined when I want to get something, and I'm very good at taking corrective measures. taking corrective measures, accepting that this has happened.
Right.
So now what?
Now what?
Should I sleep crying and just thinking about whatever happened, or I can focus my energies towards what am I going to do now?
Next.
You know.
Right. But how is it for your family though? How did they take the news? Were they there for you? Did they support you?
Yeah, my family was 100% there for me, especially my father, my mother, and my elder sister. They really helped, even financially. They had to, put some monies together, do this, and try to get me out of some of these things, and they did their part. They were very supportive. My wife was extremely supportive too, looking at what I made her go through at this particular point in time, and I just thank God my family was there for me at that time. Yeah.
So did you, during the time that you were going through all this depression, did you ever come to a point where you thought, let me just quit this? Let's go suicidal?
I'm not that type of a person. I never, not even.
It's never crossed your mind even once at the deepest and hardest point. You were never like, let me just end this.
For that situation, that particular
or
situation.
even any other.
Maybe there could be other situations which I wouldn't want to talk about, but for that particular situation and a lot more other situations, I had nut to crack.
Really?
It's not possible for me to think about that,
But the one time it crossed your mind?
There was a time when I was in high school. I was entangled in some mess. As high school boys and whatnot, we are setting in school, and so I used to have a short temper. So I beat up one of my friends. Unfortunately, things didn't really go well. He collapsed.
He didn't die, did he?
No, he didn't. He collapsed. He says, according to him, he says when I was punching him, I even hit him on his private parts. So he collapsed, and that was around 18. The school car took him to the hospital. We went to the hospital, they put him on oxygen, blah, blah, blah. He only woke up around 22, 23. He was almost dying. Then he was in hospital for like 3 days. When family members came, it was a big issue. I was kind of arrested whilst in school. I was taken to the cells. The school came and retrieved me. Kyrie is just a juvenile, this and that. We'll sign a bond on his behalf. But there was those discussions, and the police said the family has to discuss. After a few days, if they failed to conclude, we take it to court. Luckily, my father managed to discuss with the family, and we were charged a lot of money. At that time, it was some years back, we were meant to pay about 4,000 kwacha.
Wow.
Because that was like 2002, 3, I think.
It was quite a lot at that time.
Yeah, so that time it was quite a lot of money. So when that happened, I was very depressed, because every day I was thinking, what if the guy dies? When you go and see him at his dormitory, I was like, but that thought of suicide and it never crossed my mind. I was very strong to overcome that. I was even expelled from school, and then I went to a different school.
What grade was that?
That was some year. What?
What grade were you at the time?
I was in grade 11. Yeah, grade 11. Yeah. So I went to a different school. The school that I didn't want to go to when I was in grade 10. In grade 9, I was at Katete Boarding High School. So when you've passed so much, you go to Chizongwe Technical High School. So I refused. I told my father I am not, because Chizongwe was a boys' school to begin with. And both I was doing acting, music thing, playing keyboard as well. I can't leave my school. I'm not like that. People love me and whatnot. So I opted to stay at that particular school. So after that happened, my father now took me back where I was supposed to go, Chizongwe Technical High School. That's where I went and did my grade 11 and 12 from there. Then I completed my school. So when that happened, it was a very devastating moment for me, and even just changing schools, it was cumbersome. But quickly, I came to terms with reality and looked forward to the best, and everything happened well. And I thank God so much that I changed my school, because I wouldn't even have passed if I maintained to be on that school, because I was so much mental pressure. I was playing so much on the previous school that I was on. I remember very well. I was Zongwe. It was more of intellectuals and whatnot. So it was a different ballgame. And to make matters worse or better, it was just a boys' school. So I focused more on school. And
you only had to focus on school. Yeah. And you and that guy, are you still friends? Are you? Do you meet?
We were, but after that we've never talked.
Never talked again.
Like we've never even met. But yeah, we were just kids anyway. That time we were just kids. Yeah, some other guys who were together with him when they were creating these problems for me to result into a fight. We are good friends. We talk. Right. Yeah. Okay. Funny enough, most of them after I left, they were also expelled. I was like, it's as a result of what they did to me. I got, because the fight that I got into, I was not to blame anyway. Genuinely,
that kind of a thing.
They got on my nerves, and it became a problem. Then in the end, I ended up, because of the action that I took, I ended up being the bad guy, and I was even expelled from school and whatnot. So I knew at that time, but as time went by, I forgot about it, and I also understood that we were just kids.
You were just kids. Yeah. So now, from these past experiences you've had with depression and stress and the like, how are you managing yourself better now? How are you managing your stress levels?
About stress, when it comes to issues of emotions and whatnot, things that can cause depression, especially when you're entangled with in problems and whatnot, I've just learned that problems usually have a start and end point. So whenever I am faced with some challenges, I just apply the art of patience and just staying positive and just waiting for that time when these problems will end, because they come to pass at some point. There's nothing that lasts forever. So it usually comforts me to say it's just for a while. It's just for a while, and then this thing is going to come to pass. And then you even joke about it and laugh about it, and you remember that time. This is it seemed like the end of the world, but yeah. So. And
the experience makes you a better person at the end.
The experiences makes me a better person, because most of these things I can easily refer to them, and you find that some problems that you have, you even say, but the problem that I managed to overcome was far bigger than this, so I can easily handle this, yeah.
That's an amazing story, and I love the way that you managed to handle the stress and all of those depressing
the music industry, this is what I'm not going to tell you, it's a very depressing industry. A lot of things happen. You put in a lot of money, a lot of time, you work with a lot of people, you make investments. Most of the times, 90% of the times, you lose. 90% of the time. There's only like 10% that you make it. You can either make it big or just make it on average, So 3/4 of the times, the people who are in the industry, the music industry to be specific, if you go and interview them or discuss, they'll tell you how much depression they have faced. Because it's very depressing. You put in a lot of time, a lot of energy, there's backlash online, things don't work out, people don't play your music on radio stations, you are broke, you need money to shoot videos. When you sacrifice whatever you have and then you go and shoot the music videos, things don't work, your song doesn't make it, and most of the times things just don't work out. But there's that small percentage where a lot of people are hopeful and they know one day to work. And the story is always hard but at some point, there's always time for everyone. Things end up to work. So this music industry that we are in also has heavily contributed to how we manage stress, because we've seen a lot of harder stuff come our way, and we've been depressed most of the times, but we've managed to work around that and overcome the situation.
Right. So it's mainly about keeping the hope and persevering, and before you know it,
exactly,
you're gonna make it.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Exactly.
All right, DJ Mzengaman. So we are going to play a little game as we come to the wrap of our interview. I want us to play a little game. So I've got emojis here with me.
Yeah.
That I'm going to be pulling out, and then you're going to tell us if you've been in this kind of a place before, and if you are currently at that point.
Okay.
Right. So the first card here is love. Are you in love?
Yes, with my wife.
Very much in love with your wife.
So much.
A love that just is never dying.
It feels like it's new every day. We've been married for like 8 years now, but it feels like this is the first year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yes, somebody's
wedding feels like it was just yesterday.
Oh wow. That is awesome to hear. Okay, we've got a surprise guy. Amazed. Are you amazed at this point? Have you been amazed in your life where you just like, wow? Yeah. I didn't think I'd make it through this, but wow, look at me now.
Yeah, when I won this award,
right, you got so many accolades here.
Because I had very, very competitive people in my category, you know, and very talented people, and when I won it, you know, when they announced that this award goes to DJ Mzengaman, I was like, wow, never expected it.
That is amazing, and congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
Okay, ooh, sad and crying.
Yeah, the moments we're talking about, yeah, some ended up in tears. Right. Yeah, but we managed to overcome.
And that's what's most important. Okay, genius, like. This guy looks like
this. I don't know how much of a genius I am, but I've been told severally. Yeah.
And you wear the specs also, so yeah. Sort of suited. Okay. Have you ever felt silenced in your life? Just
silenced?
Like you got no words?
Not really, but I've learned that on some of these things that happen, especially in our industry, is just to keep your mouth shut.
Just keep your mouth shut.
It serves you better, because once you say anything or you want to justify or defend yourself, especially online, it breeds a whole lot of problems. And of course, everyone has got their own views and whatnot, and it ends up affecting your mental state. You become depressed. So silence is golden.
Yes, like the saying goes.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, cool. Do you feel cool? You're a cool guy. You just feel like I got this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes you feel like that, and then it doesn't work.
And you don't feel so cool anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sad.
Yeah.
Are you sad currently?
Currently, not really.
Not really.
Yeah, there's some issues here going on the business aspect. You know, working with a lot of people, the people that we manage and whatnot, so it can be emotionally draining. Yeah, so there's that, and we've had a lot of big projects that we've been pushing, and some came with a lot of responsibilities and complications and whatnot. Yeah, but we're managing.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's about it. We're back at being in love.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much, DJ Mzengaman. It's been amazing hearing some of the stories that you've had shared with us here today. It's really inspiring to see that, you know, in spite of all of the troubles you've gone through, the thing that you do is accept it, deal with it, you move on, and you don't dwell on your depression, you don't dwell on those troubling situations.
Exactly.
That's amazing to hear and to learn from you. Otherwise, thank you so much for having had us. We know you're a very busy person, but you managed to squeeze us into your schedule. We're humbled, we're so grateful, and we definitely wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. I'm really thankful that you guys came through and we had this chat. It means a lot to me. I hope to see you next time.
Yes,
we can
definitely.
Chat about something.
We'll be here more often. Definitely.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's been our show for today. Thank you so much for having watched. And if you're that person that feels you have a story that you'd love to share, like Mzengaman has today, please hit us up, and we'll be ready to come and hear your story. And we'd love to hear it right here on Ours Once Depressed. I'm your host, Sarah Mwansa, and until next week, it's bye-bye.
Bye. Okay.